So in the 99 or the over 99 kilogram bracket at ADCC in 2019, there were a lot of people who were probably expected to make it to at least the quarterfinals, if not the semifinals. There were a lot of guys who were either former ADCC champions or former black belt world champions, even some guys who were black belt champions at some of the other major tournaments like the Pan Ams, a guy like Max Jimenez, for example. But as it turned out, the story that really seemed to break through, and the one that most people seem to be interested in, was a guy who made it all the way to the finals despite being a D3 wrestler and then a blue belt at the time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by going through his matches from the quarterfinals all the way through to the finals, talk a little bit about what was going on in each of the matches. I'll have a separate video that goes more in depth just on Nick Rodriguez specifically, but I'll go through some of those images from there, then go back to the bracket and just talk about all the results from there. So we'll start off with Nick Rodriguez here, and this is his second round match. So he got to the second round by beating Muhammad Ali in the first round. That match was primarily on the feet. Went all 15 minutes, and the judges just decided who they thought was making more attempts at getting takedowns. Ali was pretty close on a couple of them. Rodriguez was pretty close on a couple as well, but it seemed as though Rodriguez had more attempts, so that seemed to win him the match in the eyes of the judges. So Ali, a former black belt world champion in 2018, ends up falling to Nick Rodriguez. Worth mentioning, though, that in ADCC, wrestling is at much more of a premium than it is in other tournaments. In other tournaments, you can pull guard and not be penalized, and oftentimes if you pull guard and it looks like you're doing more from the bottom, you'll be able to win a ref decision. Whereas in ADCC, they really want you to wrestle, and for you to get bottom position, you either have to get taken down or you have to attempt a takedown at least and then pull off of that takedown. So here with Orlando Sanchez, he's going up against a guy who's a 2015 ADCC champion, around 300 pounds, known for his top pressure, known for his top game. And so for Orlando, he really wanted to be able to get top position on Nick. Nick's a really big guy, but Orlando is actually a little bit bigger, so he figured maybe he could find a way to wrestle him down. But that's not what happened. Oftentimes in heavyweight wrestling matches, what you'll see is sort of like a snap down, go behind type of situation. That's exactly what Nick Rodriguez does here to Orlando. So snaps his head down, pushes Orlando onto his back. Orlando doesn't want to give up the points, which is kind of odd because at this point in the match, there are no points to give up. But I guess even still, you don't want to give up a great position. So he turtles up. Rodriguez, one of the skills that he's very good at right now is circling around in the back. And then once he's on the back, being able to get his hooks in and then attack from the back once he gets there. So he circles around, gets his hooks in. And then gets to the back. Not able to finish the rear naked choke here, but really no issues there. They end up standing back up. Sanchez is able to escape the back, but from there, Sanchez just didn't have the energy to keep up with Rodriguez on the feet. He ended up gassing out, gets a penalty point for passivity, and Rodriguez is able to win in the first 10 minutes as a result. So then we move on to the semifinals against Cyborg Abreu. Cyborg did a really good job in his first round match going up against another wrestler. The wrestler that he went up against in the first round was actually a much more higher pedigree wrestler than Nick Rodriguez, that being Hudson Taylor. Hudson Taylor is a 3-time NCAA Division I All-American, also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, so better wrestling credentials, better Jiu-Jitsu credentials. But Cyborg was able to find a way to sweep him, was not able to find a way to sweep Rodriguez, so they ended up going to ref decision. So here's some footage from early on in the match. You can see Rodriguez oftentimes keeping a distance. A lot of his passing attempts against Cyborg were from the outside. He cartwheel. If he'd come inside, usually would be on a double underpass and try to get the guy to expose his back and turtle, and in the process try to find a way to take the back from there. Cyborg is very good, though, about recovering guard after turtling. So here's an example where I believe it was started off as a double underpass where he's attempting that here, but Cyborg was able to turtle back up. Again, Rodriguez just really keeping his hips back, really trying to pass from the outside. He isn't super comfortable passing from the inside quite yet. He did have a decent attempt against Kynan, and we'll get to that later. But for the most part, what we were seeing on Nick Rodriguez on the ground was him trying to stay to the outside. If you get close to sweeping him or knocking him off balance, he tends to flee, and then you have to chase him down and then try to wrestle him down. And he counts on his wrestling being good enough to defend against that. Here's another athletic pass attempt. Here's a sweep attempt from Cyborg. Again, another pass attempt for Rodriguez. This time he's looking to take the back. Gets pretty close, but again, Cyborg finds a way to defend it. Again, another pass attempt by Nick Rodriguez. This time Cyborg grabs a hold of a single leg. Actually is able to lift him up and slam him down. But in ADCC, to score the points, you have to hold the guy down for 3 seconds. Not able to do that. Rodriguez actually then, after that, while Cyborg was trying to throw him down again, Rodriguez lands a hip throw. So you can see here that Cyborg's getting thrown. But Cyborg's able to scramble up. No points here. Eventually, Cyborg gets to the back at the end of the first period. From the back, decides he's not going to be able to get the hooks in and score the 3 points to steal it here. So instead, he tries to go over the top for an armbar. Somewhat close, but Rodriguez does get out. And then at the final seconds, Rodriguez was making an attempt to take the back off of that, but wasn't able to do so. So it's tied 0-0. They go to overtime. From here, Cyborg is in on a single leg. Rodriguez just kind of flees away, gets away from it. Again, Cyborg in another single leg. But Rodriguez is going to be able to defend. Cyborg then pulls guard and then works off of his back for the rest of the match. Here again, we see another cartwheel pass attempt from Nick Rodriguez. Just a lot of athletic passing from the outside. A lot of these pass attempts, it's sort of hard to figure out how you want to score them because a lot of these cartwheels, he'd do a cartwheel but not really be that close to passing. But in the judges' eyes, you see like a very obvious attempt at a pass, even though it might not have been all that close. In other cases, when he does get towards the back, Cyborg has to turtle and roll through. In other rule sets like IBJJF, it would be an advantage. So if you're going to score it that way, then you can see that he would have accrued a lot of advantages compared to Cyborg, who had a couple of his own. But right here, we see a sweep attempt from Cyborg, and I'll go more in depth on this from the Hudson Taylor match. But this is actually the same sweep attempt that he used on Hudson Taylor, the D1 multiple-time All-American, and actually was able to finish it here. But Rodriguez, when he gets knocked down, is able to flee away and then get back up without Cyborg being able to chase him down and get on top. Again, Nick Rodriguez trying to work around Cyborg's guard, isn't able to do so. So they go to the judge's decision, and the judges feel as though Nick Rodriguez's attempts from top, even though he wasn't close to any submissions like Cyborg was, they feel as though he was making more attempts at trying to score, and as a result, he ends up winning the decision here. I think Cyborg has a case here to say that he probably did enough to win, but it wasn't one of those ones where I felt like it was an outright robbery either way. But Cyborg did, and he absolutely lost his mind. Definitely lost his cool for being a guy who likes to preach a lot about respect, honor, and dignity. He definitely didn't keep his here, and had an interview afterwards where he was just talking about how he felt like he got cheated, how he decided that he wasn't going to even wrestle back for third, and was not going to do the absolute either because he was so upset about this decision. So then into the finals against Kynan, Nick Rodriguez is able to take the back from standing, but Kynan was able to roll through into his guard and not risk giving up his back here. So again, we're seeing Nick Rodriguez's passing style where he really likes to keep his hips back. Again, hips back, doesn't like to give you an opportunity to load him up, doesn't like really being controlled that much with grips either. So really likes to stay back. Here's a cartwheel pass attempt. So again, just another athletic pass attempt from the outside from Nick Rodriguez. Here Kynan tries to attack with a leg lock. Rodriguez, as he often does, likes to try to run away and then assume that if either you don't chase him because he's just able to pull away and he's so strong and athletic, or if you do chase him, then he's going to be able to win the wrestling exchange there. But Kynan's strong, is able to hang on. Here we have a 50-50 situation here where he was looking for the leg lock, again, looking to come up. But as you can see, every time Kynan tries to come up, Nick just tries to get away and assumes that his wrestling is going to be enough for him not to give up any points here. So again, now Kynan has one butterfly hook in here. And this is one of the rare a lot of the pass attempts that we saw from Nick Rodriguez were from the outside. This one was actually from the inside. So he gets a body lock here and is able to get a pass attempt, and a really legitimate pass attempt here too. So ends up getting past Kynan's legs, tries to roll through and take his back. Kynan gives up this hook right here, but is able to slide over the top of Rodriguez's right leg, get his back to the mat so he doesn't end up getting his back taken, and is able to recover guard. So from here, just kind of sitting in guard, decides, you know what, rather than just like try to get underneath him, just kick away and try to wrestle him. So he kicks him away and then comes up onto a double leg. So gets him right here. And Kynan, finally being the one guy who had good enough wrestling to actually take Nick Rodriguez down, is able to do so. They end up towards the table, have to restart from here. So Kynan has a body lock from the back. And then from there is able to take the back and gets it's actually 3 points, not 2 points. And that was enough for him to hang on and get the victory here. So let's go back to the bracket. So quick run through of the bracket. First round, Buchecha over Braganeto, Dab falls to Hugo, Samois over Marshall, Dwarch over Rafagayev, Orlando defeats Jusoviak, Rodriguez over Ali, Abreu over Taylor, Jimenez over Hansen. Then you have Abreu over Hansen, Rodriguez over Sanchez, and then Rodriguez over Abreu, which we already saw. Then we have Buchecha over Victor Hugo, Kynan Dwarch with a bit of a controversial win over Yuri Samois. He ends up scoring the points out of bounds, but they let him keep going. Then he wins a match against Buchecha, had a near sweep attempt in the first period, but it was pretty close on the feet otherwise. And then in the finals, Kynan gets the back of Nick Rodriguez and gets the victory.